I take it all back. I take it all back. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is an exceptionally joyous edition of Daily Shot of Pirates, which comes your way almost this joyfully every weekday morning. If you happen to be into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins, but never mind them. It's all been solved. All of the Pirates' problems, the horrendous hitting, the pathetic relief pitching, the 27th ranked minor league system, all those trades that went up in flames, the big deadline acquisition of Brian Dela Cruz, whatever it was that happened to Jack Sawinski, whatever it was that happened to Rowanzi Contreras. It's all gone. It just went poof with a single move. They fired the strength and conditioning coach. No, really, they fired the strength and conditioning coach yesterday. Somebody named Adam Vish. I don't even know him. I went to look for a picture for him to go with the thumbnails that go out with this podcast. Couldn't find one. Had to settle for a random barbell off of Amazon. And that's what you got. That's the totality. See, the way stuff goes in the coaching business, meaning coaches, not managers in baseball, is there's a common courtesy that tends to be respected across the majors, that if you're not going to bring someone back, you let them know within the first week, ideally within the first couple days of the close of a team's given season. And the reason for that, and I'd hope this is obvious, is that coaches would have more of an opportunity to get work elsewhere as openings arise elsewhere. And we're now in day 3. We're entering day 3 after the end of the season. I reported late Monday night that Andy Haynes, the hitting coach, and Justin Message, the bullpen coach, which I just have to reiterate is unbelievable that they think people are so stupid that they don't know what bullpen coaches do. They don't actually coach the bullpen. They just work out there. But they're looking for fall guys here. That's what they're looking for. That's what Ben Cherington specifically is looking for. Bullpen was bad? I know. I'll fire the bullpen coach. That'll look like it has something to do with that. Bullpen coaches hold clipboards. And before those two, they fired the director of pro scouting, whose name I've already forgotten, but I think he's the guy who had the Brian Dela Cruz posters all over his office wall at 115 Federal. They fired the 4-star general of their analytics army, whose name I also forgot or might never have known, and they fired their Latin American scouting director after only 7 years of not producing a thing from that part of the world. And now, it's the strength and conditioning coach. Well, I don't know about you guys, but they didn't have me all the way in until the strength and conditioning coach was gone, because that would definitely explain why they were not either strong or conditioned enough to have anyone on the roster hit as many as 30 home runs. No, seriously, I can't. I'm speechless. And see, I warned you guys about this last week. I did. I said I was not going to have new stuff to say. And I don't. Even when there's new material handed to me as if it's a headline out of The Onion, I don't have new stuff to say. The individual at the very top of the Pirates structure is not serious about winning. Bob Nutting does not prioritize winning. He's not evil. He's not a space alien with antennas and fangs and however else some people might envision him. But he's a bad baseball owner. And I believe, in all honesty, that he'd be a bad sports owner even in a salary cap league, even though those leagues require you to spend within a range. Because as I've been telling everybody all along, it's not about the payroll. Yes, the payroll is about 10 million sometimes 15 million lower than where it should be. But the lack of accountability, the lack of urgency, the lack of prioritizing the season that's right in front of your face in any given year, that comes from the very top. That comes into play when it's the people he hires, comes into play when it's the people he waits way, way, way too long to fire. And now here we are, presumably, unless he pulls a 180 like he did in late 2019, heading into the 2025 season with the same group of people doing the same things, putting forth all the same garbage day after day after day that's designed to keep you off their backs. But hey, lucky for them, you are off their backs. No one complains. Everyone just says this is how it is. And they wait for some mythical cavalry with Mark Cuban riding a white horse, or renegade reporters turning on the team, a media firestorm. None of that's going to happen. None of that's going to happen. If Cuban lived 8 more lives, he wouldn't buy the Pirates. He'd talk about it, he'd go public with it, but he wouldn't actually do it. And reporters don't make news, they cover news. So if someone decides that they want to pipe up in some form or fashion about the grotesque mismanagement of this civic institution, it'll be covered. But nobody's doing that. Nobody anywhere is doing that. So, hey, when you walk into PNC Park next year, make sure you buy a program so you can learn the name of the new strength and conditioning coach, because he's going to take you to the promised land. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragechek.org. That's gunstoragechek.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Rick, who says, Dejan, I am really frustrated by the apathy of the Pirates fan base. How many people do you think it would take to have any significant impact or the Pirates, or to get the media covering it? Would it be 1,000? Would it be 5,000? More? I've been beating the bushes in the DK Pittsburgh Sports comment section, on Twitter, on Facebook, to get people to organize and do something. And I've had very little success. Even the few people out there who are doing one-off things like the guys with the paper bags don't seem to step up for anything more organized. And I know that a few years back, I started a petition complaining about the changes made to the club section at PNC Park. And we only got around 2,000 signatures, but I know for a fact that it got all the way to Bob Nutting's office. Rick, I've seen what you've been trying to do. It's hard to miss. You've been everywhere. And yesterday, not one, but 2 different people, one in New Jersey, one in California, offered to pay for a billboard that would feature nothing other than a photograph of our front page, our front online page, obviously, of DK Pittsburgh Sports, that just had 3 words at the top: sell the team. They were looking into billboard locations, billboard companies that would be highly visible around PNC Park and thus seen by management. But I'm like you, Rick. I'm not blind. I see what the responses are. There's nothing we can do. We're so sad. It's all hopeless. Maybe someday there will be a salary cap. Something, 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 Mark Cuban, Mark Cuban, Mark Cuban. And then my favorite of the bunch, the boycotts. A boycott in this context achieves nothing. Think about it. If PNC Park has low attendance, that's just a day ending in Y. It doesn't send any message. It's not visible. It's not vocal. Empty seats at PNC Park are just empty seats at PNC Park. You asked the question, how many would it take to get attention? And I'm going to tell you, as someone who both lives and operates a business in downtown Pittsburgh, that my wife and I see Protests. We see protests on a pretty regular basis. Why? Because protests tend to happen on Grant Street near the steps of the city-county building, and if they move somewhere else through town, they don't stray too far, and there really aren't that many participants. If you jog your own C drive in the back of your head on this subject, you'll probably be able to recall a sighting or two of local TV news that shows a protest in downtown Pittsburgh, say on, abortion rights, Israel versus Palestine, even, more standard domestic political stuff. And there can be as few as 8, 9, or 10 people just walking in a circle holding signs. And the TV cameras come running. I mean, running. And it's all of them. And the reason for that, and I don't mean to be mean when I say this, it just happens to be true, is that TV people and TV operations are so small in their staffs that they can't really generate their own news. So when there's a fire, oh my goodness, there's a fire. Fires happen all the time, but when there's a fire, the TV stations go running over each other to go film it because they can't dig up their own news. So if it's a protest on Grant Street, no one at the TV station says how many people are there. They just hear there's a protest on Grant Street and all of the trucks go flying up the bricks to see what's going on. Whereas with petitions, and especially online petitions, which don't even feel real, you don't have to get a reaction. You don't have to get a reaction. The TV stations, if they're covering a protest, let's just say it's about the Pirates or their ownership or even just protesting the Brian Dela Cruz trade on its own merits. And it's you and 8 buddies and you're walking around with placards that just have Dela Cruz's face and a red circle around it and a slash going across it. Not only will the TV people come out, the print people will come out. Everybody will come out, and then they, in turn, will go and ask the Pirates, what the heck is this all about? Because that's the natural follow-up. When this nearly happened a few years ago, I'm here to tell you, it freaked them out. Totally freaked them out. But then it never came close to happening again after that. And everybody's now just like Stockholm Syndrome victims. You can look that one up. Poor, pitiful us. We don't deserve good baseball in Pittsburgh. Maybe someday Nutting, the evil Nutting, will move the team to some other city and they'll give us an expansion team so that we can get rid of Nutting. I've actually heard and read that one. It's your team. It's the city's team. It's up to you, ultimately, what happens to it. I appreciate your passion, Rick. I appreciate everyone who listens to Daily Shot of Pirates. We'll be back with another hilarious firing tomorrow. In all likelihood, anyway.